Good morning, welcome to our Talks with Anthony Taylor. We're going to have a set for conversation. For those that are new to the channel, we make mental health conversations and content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development in addition to your well-being, right? But in today's conversation, we'll be talking about sustainable change versus quick fixes. I want us to take this into consideration because, it's uncomfortable when we have to just face these difficult situations. Problems come and go in our lives, right? But we want that immediate relief. We want to just be able to, put a patch on it and keep it pushing. But we got to understand, too, based on the situation, we don't want it to compromise us or, come on now, let's process what's really going on, because sometimes when we get them quick fixes, we can put ourselves into a worse predicament or situation, right? So it's often to feel this way, but let's kind of normalize the situation, right? So people naturally, like I said, want to be able to have solutions to their immediate difficult problems. Quick fixes can feel appealing because you're able to get that immediate control and that sense of control over the situation. But at the same time, too, like I said, depending on the situation, things can be worse based on that quick fix, because like I said, sometimes anything good, you feel me, usually gonna take some time, you feel me? Gotta take that in consideration. So we have to understand what's really going on. When change no longer is expected, it's something that it's easy for us to feel it and assume that we're gonna be failing or we're just gonna be going down the spiral. Like I said, based on a sense of our thinking, right? But we have to take into consideration, let's really have a positive mindset. Let's find solutions. Let's find resources. Let's advocate for ourselves. Let's ask for help, right? We don't got to compromise ourselves and act like it's end all be all based on these things. You're not the only one that's stressing over bills. You're not the only one that's stressing over these children and their behavior, right? Everybody has their own circumstances in their life that they're going through and they're trying to navigate through them. But we need to be proactive in a healthy way, because what we do, how we behave, right, and what we say in our mood, etc., affects other people, right? That's why it's very important to make sure that you have your self-awareness, you're attached to yourself. I always advocate, and I just did this morning, right, is to do your journal entry, really be making sure that you understand what's going on with you, right? But like I said, there is support out here. There's people that want to help you, but we have to be able to look for sustainable resources that are healthy, right? So when it comes to psychoeducation, understanding sustainable change, right? Sustainable change is built through repetitive behavior, right? We got to understand, depending on the situation, there needs to become some type of discipline. We have to be structured. There has to be a foundation, right? In order for us to get the benefits and that outcome to be sustainable, right? For us to be, you feel me, standing on our ground and really smiling, right? We got to be understanding something good is going to take some time, right? Quick fixes only focus on, eliminating that discomfort, right? Without addressing the unfiltered pattern, right? So you're not really you're seeing the blurry vision because you're just seeing the quick fixes get done today. But what about tomorrow? You feel me? In the weeks to come, right? So you don't understand, the things that you do right now could potentially cost you in the future, right? So understand that lasting change usually, like I said, requires that repetition, patience, right? You gotta understand it's a process, right? And adjustment and supporting others, and getting that support from others is really gonna be beneficial, right? Once again, you can't do everything by yourself. You got to be able to ask for support, right? Closed mouths don't get what? Don't get fed, right? People don't understand what's going on inside your mind. That's really so important. Like I said, to raise your hand, do what you got to do. Talk to somebody that you trust. Really advocate for that, right? Practice and refrain regards to, from immediate results to that long-term processing, right? We have to understand, like I said, anything good takes time, right? So ask, when things that take time, what's going on? My observations is that people have been conditioned, with the technology, etc. And just when it comes to social media, it's just the attention span, right? So it's just like we're just so used to just not wanting or having the tolerance to be able to wait for whatever the situation is. But like I just said, is that anything good takes time. So this level up, the process. You feel me? Like, wherever you're at in life, how young you are, whatever, we got to understand the process of life. And it's unfortunate that we don't have a lot of, our founding fathers and a lot of people passing on advice and not really meeting people's emotional needs and really breaking things down to their capacity. But I'm going to just keep it a buck with you. Like, you have to seek some of this information, right? There's AI, there's a lot of things going on, but you have to read books. Like, you really got to get yourself informed, because not everybody's going to have the information, the knowledge, and most people out here are suffering. Most people out here are hurting. You feel me? Regardless of they put on that facade like that everything's okay. Like, really, when you get healthy, you understand. When you're doing this work, you feel me? You understand. Like, I'm telling you, really invest into yourself. Understand, like I said, anything good takes time, but really focus on your mindset. What's the issue, right? Why can't we enjoy the process? Why are we rushing to get to whatever the end goal is, right? And then we feel numb. You feel me? What are we rushing for? You know what I mean? So focus on the system, focus on the habits, and then focusing on the dramatic transformation, right? Just understand the process. Anything good takes time. You're focusing on the big picture, like I said, but You feel me? It took you to paintbrush, like it took time for the painting to be the painting. You feel me? So I really want you to understand, like, your life, you control it. You're the narrator. You feel me? You're doing the steering wheel. You're the driver in the seat. But understand, like, you could take it easy. You feel me? Slow it down. So allow the process to be imperfect, right? We're not focused on perfection. We're focused on improving, right? This is a personal development. Keyword personal. This is you. Focus on what's on your plate, right? And people that mind their business, what? They level up. Right, so I'm just making sure I'm putting y'all onto game. I'm giving you guys some real good insight, but I really want us to understand that we don't got to be rushing for what? We don't got to be rushing for nobody. Who are we competing with? Nobody. Let's worry about ourselves. You dig? So we don't got to focus on a fast solution. Let's focus on a solution that's going to be able to help you maintain, you feel me, the consistency, so you're able to get the outcomes that you want, that you desire, because you deserve it. You feel me? And whatever you put into it, whatever you put into, you're going to get the results. Same thing I say to people in my sessions, right? Is that, you half-ass this process. You feel me? You're going to get half-ass results. I'm gonna keep it a band with you. You know what I mean? So whatever you put in, whatever you're going to get, right? So if you're really focused, you're taking care of yourself, you love yourself, you're giving this exuberating energy, and you're just doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to get the results. You know what I mean? And it's going to come when it's supposed to come. You feel me? Not everything works on your time, you dig? So you're not going to be in control of everything in life, but let's have some rational acceptance. Let's do what we can control, you dig? So instead of, like I said, having an extreme diet, let's focus on developing, sustainable, eating habits, right? Let's focus on what we're doing today, right? Because it makes us feel good for tomorrow, right? So let's get some more apples. You know what I mean? Vegetables of your choice, fruits of your choice. Let's make it. You feel me? Let's make it more manageable. Make things more easy for yourself, so you're able to have it. Also, too, for instance, a lot of Americans in the home have a lot of sugar in the home. You dig? A lot of soda, a lot of juice. You dig? Make sure you have some water bottles around you in your home, and before you know it, you're drinking more water, right? Whatever we have in our environment, in our system, right, we're going to be consuming that. So let's be mindful. That's what I'm saying. You did write these things down. Let's get some more awareness, get away from the distractions, and really be real with yourself and focus on what's on your plate once again. So instead of also to avoiding your emotions, let's be real. Let's learn to tolerate them. Let's learn to process them, right? Those out there that come from dysfunctional dynamics, we're able to see a lot of the argument, but we don't got to meet people where they're at. Let's keep it cool. Let's keep it where we're at. You did? If we're calm, you feel me, you're regulating yourself, let's keep it there, right? Let's learn how to tolerate our emotions. Let's build this rapport with ourselves. Let's seek the support, right? There's therapists, there's people out here that really want to be able to help you, but closed mouths don't get fed. You don't know what's going on with you. You feel me? So try to seek that support, right? Also, instead of repeatedly restarting, let's also set manageable goals for yourself so they're more realistic. A lot of us out here have high expectations for ourselves. You know what I mean? High expectations for ourselves. It's coming from our family dynamics. It's coming from us competing with other people. It's coming from us. We're looking at other people in society. We're based on where they at, what they driving, and we putting ourselves in a more, deprived situation because we're competing with people. But let's focus on what you got going on. Let's focus on yourself, right? So instead of cutting everyone off after a conflict, right? Let's learn about boundaries. Let's learn about communication. Let's learn about expressing ourselves. Let's learn about, you feel me? People don't know what you got going on. People don't know what you wouldn't do in your childhood. People don't know how your parents treated you. Some people out here coming from foster homes. It gets really, you feel me? When you really get real with the situation, but we have to have understanding, right? It's really good to express yourself, you know what I mean? And let someone know where you're coming from, what's going on. But if you don't see the progression, changes, etc., do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody going to sit there and tell you what you got to do with your life. You know what I mean? Do what's beneficial for you at the end of the day, but you want to be able to have real communication, because this is how we talk. You got to be able to learn how to talk to people, right, with respect, etc. And there's foundational principles when it comes to communication, but we got to understand these things, right? So you don't got to run away from your world. You don't got to, you feel me, get mad. You don't got to be ruminating on bad thoughts, etc. Right? We can do things about a situation. We have a positive mindset. We can heal. We can get right. But we got to also understand a lot of things is coming from us because we got a lot of, you feel me, a lot of baggage that we trying to hide. You feel me? We trying to hide from. You know what I mean? So let's stop this facade. Let's move towards self-differentiation. Let's be who we need to become. Let's be healthy versions of ourselves. Let's do what we got to do. Let's maintain, you feel me? Let's build sustainable skills. It's going to be able to help us for the long term, right? So micro action, what can we do today is going to help us for tomorrow, you dig? So build something you can maintain. So some questions I want to be able to ask yourself. So this is the time where I want you to get yourself into solitude. I'm asking y'all for out there that's just, you feel me, get near the parks, get near the beaches, go somewhere where you're able to have peace of mind. You can't put a dollar amount on, right? So what quick fix have I been relying on, right? What's really going on with me? What problem is this actually solving, right? What is this actually going to do for me? And then, follow up the question with, what small habit could I address that's underlying this issue? So it's like I said, instead of having that mindset, instead of me trying to have a quick fix, right, to complete this thing overnight, right? Because like I said, good things, they take time, you feel me? You feel me? They take time. Now, like I said, we're so used to it in today's culture, we're able to get so many things fast. We got Temu, we got Amazon, we got all these, you feel me? We're consumers, right? But we have all these companies out here, right? But I want us to understand, like, what can we practice that can help us have consistency to get to what we want, right? We got people out here in school. We got people out here in school, semester to semester, they put in this work. And when they get to that graduation, bam, it was years. It took them time to get that. You feel me? Same thing when you get a job. It takes you time to be able to get that car. You feel me? You don't just get the job and just get the car. You feel me? Things take time. You feel me? If you're able to really reassess these things, really sit amongst yourself and understand, like, anything good's gonna take time. When you put your mind to it, when you're consistent with something, you're gonna understand the real benefits gonna come with it, right? These quick fixes and behind these materialistic things is not gonna, you feel me? It's not, I'm being real with you, y'all. I do the psychology stuff for real. The information that I know, I'm not gonna sit there and skew you wrong. I want you to understand the values of life, but at the same time too, I want to pull the psychoeducation with it, but I really want us also to provide some real relief, because a lot of us out here are chasing, you feel me? What are we chasing? What are we rushing for? You dig? I've been there, done that myself. I'm getting speed tickets, you dig? From back in the days, and I'm paying my consequences for on the back end right now. So the things that we do today have consequences for tomorrow. You feel me? So I want us to understand the mindset, slow it down, reassess ourselves, who we competing for, what things that I will put in for us from our family dynamics, right? The system, every family system has a system. Everybody's playing a role in that system. You feel me? You feel me? Once upon a time, you was unconscious because you was a child. You didn't know better. You didn't really have a conscious yet. Your brain was growing. It was developing. You feel me? And it still is. You dig? But it's just like, what are we doing with our time? What are we putting into our mind? All these things are affecting us and affecting our rationality, how we're thinking, how we're operating. You dig? So I really want us to understand, what can we do to improve our system? What can we do to improve our ways? Mental health is where? The brain. So we got to get more, you feel me, intuitive with ourselves. Once again, the journal, I always advocate for it, but like I said, I want us to slow down in regards to our process. You know what I mean? Let's think about sustainable ways to enjoy the process, right? The things that's going to be able to help us last is going to give us a foundation that we're able to stand on, right? Like I said, our quick fixes, you feel me? We're going to have some quick problems, I'm telling you, you dig? However, if you found this video beneficial, give it a thumbs up, share it possible, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.